Welcome, I'm Darren, and I'll be your guide today as I rank the worst basketball card designs of 1993. I was surprised when I put together this list so there were only 10 sets that were released in basketball in 1993 in packs. And so it makes it really clean. There are 5 that are good, there are 5 that are not good. And I was surprised at how clearly I found the division between the two. So the list came together pretty well, but once I got the list together, I was surprised at exactly where I saw everything showing up, especially when it came to number 4. So it was, again, all about images and the relationship with design. Well, almost all of them. So it was interesting to see how things kind of flipped around from where I expected them to be. And when I started off at number 5 with Stadium Club, the cards are really impressive because Stadium Club did such a really good job with images. That was the whole point in 1991, but they never quite got it to work in 91. 92, they were starting to figure it out. 93 was the year where they actually began to nail it. And in basketball is a place where they did a fantastic job of image selection. Probably better than any of the other sports. I might find myself kind of debating back and forth, but the images just carry along so well. The problem this card has is that this was the first time that Stadium Club started to use different designs for each sport. So 91 and 92, they did the same thing across all the sports, even though baseball had a variation on it. And in 93, they all did the same thing again, except they had different colors. Except when they got around to basketball, rounding out the end of the year, in this case, they actually went with a whole new design. In fact, that was what Topps was doing. And the Stadium Club cards, they got rid of all of the elements that were distinct on the card and just had this ethereal gold foil that sadly disappears into the image. That's the problem this has. They worked so hard to get the card out of the way so that the image would work well, that the card is completely gone, and the images, if you look at each individual image, they read beautifully. But you put this in a display case and you're never gonna see it. You put it in a binder, it's gone. Card to card to card, you're just not gonna see the card stand out. You've got to do the work, the heavy lifting to see the card. And that's just not good when it comes to cards, because the whole point of the card is to grab your attention. That's the whole point of the card, and this card does not do that. So I'd like to have it further down the list, and I did have it slightly further, but man, these images come out so well. And when I shift over to number 4, this I actually had at number 5 for quite a while, which is FLIR. And this is the one that absolutely shocked me, because I was dead set going into this. I knew that this was going to be in the bottom 2. And boy, was I surprised when, as I looked at all 5 cards, this was the one I enjoyed looking at the most. It kept catching my eye and bringing me in. Yes, the white border is not great, and that spray paint text is stupid. I mean, I remember in 94 and 95, I ripped through so many of these boxes. I completed almost all of the insert sets from boxes. So I spent a lot of time with these terrible cards not figuring out ever why anybody would like them. Even today, card back looks terrible. The spray paint on the front isn't good. I don't like the white border. Dude, those images are great. Man, it's crazy, because FLIR had been doing really good card designs pretty much all the way through 1992. And 92 is a great card design. But their printing technology, especially for images, just wasn't very good. And in 93, they threw out all the good card designs and put all their energy into great images. And that's the thing that stands out about these cards. And it's why these are the cards that kept grabbing my attention, because the images are stronger, even, in my opinion, even than Stadium Club. So this is a card I just keep getting pulled into, which is what a card should do. And I enjoy looking at the cards, which is what a card should do. But I don't enjoy the border element on the card. It always annoys me, especially when it's yellow. So that's the problem that the card has, and it's very much indicative of the nature of this card. I expected this to be around position number 2, and for a while I had it at 5. It should be lower, but it's not, because there's one element of the card that works so well, and that's what grabs my attention and holds me in. So it begs the question, all right, then what do I have as worse than this? And it starts off with Upper Deck SE. Now, Upper Deck SE, or Special Edition, this was a practice set that Upper Deck created to prepare for 1994, the releases there. And thankfully, by football, they figured it out. They got the design right and it worked, and then by the time we got around to basketball again, the design was finally fixed. But in this 1993-94 Upper Deck SE set, the problem with this card is that it's a big mess. The images are not well selected for the players to stand out. Some of them are. That Reggie Miller card is one of the great cards within reason for me, because it's just such a great image. The problem that these cards have, though, is that the design element on the side is a black box at the top, which is not good because, look, in hockey, the backgrounds are really bright. In football and in baseball, they're done outdoors in the daytime, and even during night games, everything's lit so well, you don't have a lot of darkness behind the player. In basketball, you got the rafters, you got the cheap seats. It's so dark back behind the players so often, and that's up toward the top of the card. So that black box just disappears, and it makes it feel almost like the card is running into it, or running off into that area. And in the case of the Reggie Miller card, it kind of works, except he's already off center, and it makes him more off center. But that is coupled with, down at the bottom, the black and white scrunched image, which is the same image as the main image on the card. And in that case, that gets caught up in the busyness down at the bottom, in which case the whole design element on the side you don't see, but it takes anything in the card that is too busy and it makes it busier. And that's the problem with these cards. When I look at them on an individual basis, I don't really see, I can see the player, but I don't really get enthralled in them. I put them into binders and they basically disappear. Not entirely, but it's pretty close. This card set always, to me, looked like some cheap second-rate affair, not the higher-end card set that it was supposed to be. So, didn't work well, but at least it's not like number 2, which is Topps. 1993 Topps Basketball, or 93-94 Topps Basketball. This card is the best card design of the whole group, especially on the card back. They really did do good card backs for 1994 for Topps. The problem is the images are, it's almost like they're not even selected. It's kind of like they just sent off a list and said, here, just give me one of these, one of these, one of these, and just stuck them in. I mean, these cards, in most cases, I can't see the player, as in I can't see the player. I have to sit there and work through, and it's like, where's Waldo? Hey, I found the player. That's the way it works, and that's not good. Then the busyness down at the bottom just gets in the way. I look at the card design and I think, man, that looks like an early to mid, like an 82 to 84 year card design that is modernized. It has that quality to it, but it needs a simplistic image to make it work, and these card images aren't. And that's the thing, where I said that with Upper Deck SE in binders, they kind of run together. In this case, I'm looking at it and I don't see it. I'm bored. I've moved on, absolutely moved on. This, to me, is the most disappointing card because I want to leave this card and abandon it almost right away. But for bad cards, if you're hoping that Topps is not, that Topps actually did do a good job, I'm sorry, but Finest, to me, is just hands down the worst card design. I'm not surprised that I have it below FLIR, but so for me, I've always been frustrated by Finest because when you look at the 1992 test set, it's amazing. I mean, it's got this wonderful jewel-like quality. I look at it and I go, I can't wait to see what they do next. And then when they got around to it in 1993, I don't know what they were thinking, and I'm pretty sure they don't know what they were thinking either. The basketball design, or the baseball design, kind of worked a little bit, but in basketball, well, you got that tie-dye thing behind, which is, I don't know what they were trying to do. You got that stone wall, which to me looks more like chipped beef. I understand the idea with that is to show off all the little intricate elements you can have. And for the subset where they have the bricked wall, that brick wall works so well. That looks good. I mean, the outside of the card doesn't look good, but the brick element does look good. In this case, the card just, I don't know. I truly don't know. How could they come up with this? They wouldn't really do a really good card design until 1997, maybe 95, but 97 was when Finest finally started to realize its potential, and 93 is about as bad as it gets. I mean, this is just really, really bad. So that's where I have the list of the worst basketball card designs for 1993-94. At least that's my take on it. So I'm curious to hear what you think about it. If you, how you see the list being a little bit different. If you think another card should have been in it, or whatever. I'm curious to hear what you have to say. And now that I've done all 4 of the sports, my next video for rankings is going to be looking at the worst designs across all the 4 sports. So that's going to be a fun one to do. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Do check out my other videos, and thank you very much for watching.